what the hell? This is like, I'm kind of in awe. This is, I think, the most generous read I have seen in any mainstream news network or journal ever of Hasan. Holy. Ezra Klein having awareness is wild. I don't understand. From the abundance guy, who would have guessed? Holy Toledo. Like to shift gears into what is by far one of the most insane things I've seen so far this timeline, this year. The opinion piece. He changed the title? Dude, the title was okay. All right, we're still in the same timeline, guys. That you can see, by the way, if you look up, I guess like the title hasn't changed on Google search. So the title on the Google search from this is from 7 hours ago says opinion Hasan Piker is not the enemy. But when you click it, this is why there's no liberal Joe Rogan. Bro. Oh my God, dude. Who at the New York Times was beating the shit out of Ezra Klein? They were like, who the fuck do you think you are? I wonder if there were any changes made to the article before we got a chance to read it. Someone got a call? No, that's factual, dude. That's actually factual. So the archive version still shows the old title. It's pretty common for New York Times to change the title and byline. Well, yeah, it's usually they are doing like A/B testing, but that's still funny. That what they changed it to is this. But anyways, Hasan Piker is not the enemy. And it says after the fake news, his head looks too normal size in this. After the 2024 elections, there was a panic among Democrats about the absence of a liberal Joe Rogan. Could one be found? Could one be created? It was an epic exercise in missing the point. You cannot have a liberal Joe Rogan because Rogan is not particularly political. His audience cohered around conversations with comedians, MMA fighters, bodybuilders, and psychonauts. That's what made him politically influential. He could reach millions of people who were not otherwise interested in politics. Okay, let me just say, he absolutely was political. He just appealed to a very dumb type of political person. An apolitical person would be, I'm trying to think of like the most apolitical. There's a couple ideas that are coming into my brain, but I'm like, I want to find the best idea. There were a couple podcasts and YouTube channels that I've seen that are actually truly apolitical. And even those, it's hard to make anything truly apolitical. Oh, you know what? It'd be actually a pretty decent example. Someone like Markiplier, where like, and even he's still political about things. But Miss Rachel, no, that's objectively political. I'm trying to think of the least political creator online. Germa actually would be a pretty good example. Someone who mostly or almost exclusively spends their time doing something that is not political. Markiplier is political. He's just quiet about it. Well, yeah. So I'm like, that's not like I'm trying to think of the best example. Burnt Peanut is not apolitical, bro. Be fucking for real. Moist Critical is not apolitical, bro. Northern Lion is not apolitical. Are you kidding me? What are you, crazy? Or are you actually a fool? Why are there people in here who've never watched Northern Lion? Well, you know what? Actually, a true Northern Lion would write that just to bait me. So maybe you actually are the realest Northern Lion fan. Maybe he meant ape political. He is very ape-like, so I guess that would make sense. Derma's not a human being though, so it doesn't count. That's true. That is true. He's a creature. No, you're right. Hassan with a MAGA hat. Shut up. Stupid. Fuck off, dude. Like, shut up. Silence. Maybe if I go to my YouTube, I can find something immediately. Wow. Guys, who made my entire YouTube channel political? Okay. You know what? Great example. I found it. The type of creators that make this content. This is probably as close as you can get to apolitical. There's no political image or messaging that I can discern. There's no intent to push people in one direction or another direction. Okay, to the people being like, well, this is political because, it's a small bakery trying to fight against Costco. No. I'm not talking about in the way that everything is political. I'm talking about the way that, like, things are intentionally political, okay? Segregation, shut up. You guys are so annoying. Okay, you guys are just baiting me. Stop. This is why we stun lock. This is chat's fault. It's chat's fault that I get stun locked, okay? The woman owning a business. Yeah, but it's a woman owning a business that is a bakery, which is a woman-coded job. So, you consider that we've gone woke into unwoke. Then maybe we can keep going woke and some. Moving on. Joe Rogan has never been apolitical. He's always been political. It's just that his political position has been I'm a normal guy who talks about and cares about politics. Apolitical people do not talk about politics. I don't know if you guys have run into these people. There is a massive difference between centrist who talks to everyone and thinks everyone's a little weird and person who literally will get mad if you try to talk about politics. And I've had it happen before. When I've talked to people, I'm like, yeah, what do you think about this? And they're like, I don't talk about politics. I'm like at all? Yeah. I'm like, do you vote? And they're like, I don't talk about that. It's like, oh, okay. All right. No, we can only talk about things that are casual conversation. It's like, oh, all right. And I'm just like, sure. Okay. Whatever you say, man. Sure. I guess. Joe Rogan isn't apolitical. He's politically illiterate. It's not the same thing. Yeah. Whereas Joe Rogan talks about politics. He likes to talk about politics. He likes to talk about political issues. He likes to talk to people from different political leanings. And he likes to engage in these conversations as if he knows anything. And then also wants to have his cake and eat it too and pretend like he doesn't know anything. So he's never been apolitical. He's always been political. It's just that the political group he's appealed to are people who vote, but are fucking idiots and troglodytes and actually think both parties are exactly the same in every single way, and there are no candidates that you can trust except the anti-establishment, Trump. It's like, you almost had it for one moment, and then you lost the plot completely. You lost the plot literally completely. So continuing, the problem Democrats actually had, one of them anyway, is that they didn't like Rogan and criticized others for going on his show. They tried repeatedly to cancel him for his comments about trans people and his skepticism of the COVID vaccines. Well, I would go farther and call him an anti-vaxxer, but I don't know what else you would call someone who refuses the COVID vaccine, takes ivermectin. Maybe there are people who haven't seen him. COVID, ivermectin, Joe Rogan. Bro was like gray. He was literally gray. And he was like, I'm feeling pretty good. Day 3 of having, but I think the ivermectin is really kicking in because I'm starting to shit a lot, which is probably not good, but that's okay. Like, bro was jaundiced. I'll let you guys know if I find it, but neither here nor there. Kitchen sink politics. I mean, kind of, yeah. At least no more worms. And also, when is the Democratic Party going to learn? Telling people you can't do this is, one, kind of makes people want to do it more, but also two, doesn't work. Like the stop, you can't do this. No, guys, you're not supposed to go on those podcasts is never going to work. Why? Because it's a position on the defense and it's not a position on the offense. And you have to eventually take some positions on the offense. And Democrats just hate going on the offense. They're just always on the defense. To the extent that he is now a right-coded figure, it's not because he started that way. Yes, he did. Rogan's political views are mixed. He backed Bernie Sanders in 2020. He supports universal health care and abortion rights. He dislikes vaccine. Well, that's because it makes him feel good. Those are positions that make him feel good. Whereas if you talk to him about like universal like childcare, or you talk to him about like universal dental care, or talk to him about universal school, like free college, he'll be like, I don't know that we have the money for that. How are we going to get, like, when talking about housing migrants, he literally said, how do we have the money? I don't think we have the money for that. He likes the idea of those things. But the second he doesn't like the idea of those things, he just goes and leans back on the classic right-wing talking point of, well, how are we going to have the money for that? He dislikes vaccine mandates and lacks border control, but it shouldn't have been a surprise when after years. Also, when it comes to taxing the rich, he has bizarre takes. He like flip-flops and says, yeah, okay, a little bit of taxing too. You know, we literally are the ones, us millionaires and billionaires, we literally are the ones that create value in society. You can't do that. You can't tax us. Like, what the hell? And more people are going to go on the Hasan show now that they know he does Hot Ones level research and will give you warm iced tea. True. He dislikes vaccine mandates, lacks border controls, but it shouldn't have been a surprise when, after years of being attacked by the left, he endorsed Donald Trump in 2024. This is the most pathetic baby brain shit I've ever seen in my life. Literally, it has not happened once that being shamed for my political opinions has made me change my political opinions. That other people being mean to me has made me change them. People making good arguments has made me change them. People making arguments about that I couldn't respond to and had no answer to has made me change my positions. Being shamed has never made me change my positions. There has never been a person that said like, ew, feminism is so icky and it makes women, it's destroying our society. It's actually destroying our society. All this feminism is destroying it. I have never once heard that and thought, dude, true, I should be less of a feminist. No, no. Are you kidding me? That's so cringe. Whereas if someone says, well, I don't agree with like this particular author in the feminist movement and her portrayal of men, and usually Andrea Dworkin, maybe I'll move a position based on facts. But this whole like, well, people were attacking him so much that he just had to endorse Donald Trump. He had no other choice. Just really mean for him. Fuck off, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's literally a requirement. It is literally a requirement to be attacked by the left if you are on the left. There is no one that is on the left that has not been attacked by the left. It sounds like if you got attacked and it hurt your feelings so bad you became a right-winger, you were just a right-winger. Okay? I don't know what to tell you, man. That's just, it's so cringe. Reactionary moment? Yep. Infighting is what binds us. True. Okay, but it shouldn't have been a surprise. Okay, no. The simplest way to tell people which side they're on is to tell them how much your side hates them. Famously, the left doesn't hate Hasan. Famously, everyone on the left loves Hasan. That brings me to a more important than it might look controversy that has burst out over the leftist streamer Hasan Piker. He had a breakout moment over the past year as Democrats began obsessing over the absence of a liberal Joe Rogan, and Piker, who mixes leftist politics with bro-ish aesthetic, was proffered as a possible answer, a category error, because again, the whole point of Rogan's political power is that his show mostly avoids politics. No, that is not true. What is this characterization, Ezra Klein? But pick over Piker's years of streaming, and you can find offensive things he said, amongst them America deserved 9/11, that his favorite flag is Hezbollah's, that a liberal Zionist is akin to a liberal Nazi. I mean, yes. Okay, I don't even understand what the point is of the last one. You can't be a liberal pro-ethno-state committing genocide person. There's no way to be liberal about that. Oh, I'm a liberal about how much I love when this country does a genocide, but because they have to, for their ethno-state that they have to have. Huh? Sorry, could you just go back a couple just go back a little bit, just like a couple steps there, just like a really, just can you just go, can you just go back like a couple? What did you just say? That's not okay. All right. All right. Streamer has said offensive things isn't really a news story, but then Abdullah Saeed, the more DSA-ish candidate in the Democratic Senate Party, primary in Michigan, began rallying with Piker. That led Third Way, a centrist group that previously demanded that Democrats draw a line in the sand and shun Hasan Piker and his fellow, quote, Jew haters to send a letter to El Sayed demanding details about how closely you align with his most abhorrent views. Jonathan Greenblatt, the head of the Anti-Defamation League, said Piker reflected the dangerous normalization of anti-Semitism in our politics. All right, dude. Okay. All right. Whatever you say, man. The ADL, by the way, which saw Elon Musk doing a Nazi salute twice and said, he's just a little autistic, is all. That's crazy because, like, I know lots of autistic people and none of them have ever done a Nazi salute ever. You could say that about his little, like, silly little fruity jump that he does when Elon Musk does a little, like, X jump. He's like, you guys know the one I'm talking about? Sure. Okay. I feel like it's kind of rude. It almost feels ableist to call that behavior autistic because I feel like you're taking away a lot of swag and riz from autistic people, but whatever, sure. If you're doing a Nazi salute, that's not because of your autism, bro. Politico then asked a number of possible 2028 Democratic hopefuls whether they would appear on Piker's show. Gavin Newsom, Emmanuel said that they would. Representative Ro Khanna, AOC already had and said that they would. Senators Cory Booker, Gallego and Slotkin said that they wouldn't, which, by the way, I don't know how many of you guys saw the Slotkin post. I totally forgot to show it to you guys yesterday, but it's okay because we got perfect timing to show it to you guys today with this article. The Slotkin post was amazing. This Ostenox tweet. Girl, you are beefing with a Twitch streamer. You are not making it past Iowa.
I talked with Hasan Piker this week, and he essentially said that there was a double standard on you going on Bill Maher's show versus his Twitch stream. Do you want to respond to that?
Well, first of all, I've never been invited on his stuff, and I've gone on Bill Maher a bunch of times. Look, I have said repeatedly, like, I got to call balls and strikes, whether it's antisemitism, Islamophobia, coming from the state that I come from. And so that's what I've tried to do as he's come into Michigan. And, I think there are a ton of podcasts or, invites that I've not taken. And every politician has to make their choice. They have to make a decision about what they're going to go on. So I've been on Bill Maher, I think this is my 4th time. That's just how I feel, given some of the things that were said.
And which strikes does Hasan hit? What are his strikes?
Strikes?
Which strike? You said balls and strikes.
Oh,
what are his strikes?
I think for me, some derogatory things he said about Orthodox Jews, saying that we deserve 9/11. Like, there's some things in there. Not to mention, he calls me stupid like every other week. So I just...
Girl, you are beefing with a Twitch streamer. You are not making it past Iowa. Oh my God. It's insane that none of these politicians see the opportunity to come off well-informed and appealing. They don't see that as like an opportunity on that broadcast. Because I'm going to tell you guys something really quickly. Let me say, this is my biggest criticism, I would say, I think right now of Hasan. And I'm not claiming it's easy. It is very difficult. And I'm sure people who are really good at it, like Crystal Ball and Mehdi Hasan, spent many years practicing it and getting it to the point that they can easily debate and pressure politicians. But I will say Hasan sometimes has and he's gotten a lot better at it, I think. He has sometimes very like softball questions for people. Like, I think he could give harsher questions to people. But again, that's like a skill. That is a skill that you build up over time. And you kind of can't get better at anything unless you're actively practicing it. One great example of someone who does actually asks really good questions is Mehdi Hasan. Mehdi Hasan's conversation with Mamdani was amazing. Like, he really needles him on it. He really needles him on what he thinks about Hakeem Jeffries. He needles him on what he thinks about Chuck Schumer. He needles him on the Democratic Party. And when Mamdani awkwardly, that's the only time I've seen Mamdani get kind of like frame mogged a little. He sheepishly is like, well, I just want to focus on New York. And Mehdi Hasan looks at him and says, listen, I'm on your side, but people are going to ask you these questions, so you should be prepared for them. Like, maybe right now, that shtick can work, and it is working, and you should keep doing it. But eventually, you do become a voice for Democrats and for people who vote Democrats, and your voice starts to matter. Even if you're just the mayor, you should have answers on where you want the Democratic Party to go and whether or not you agree with the leadership of Chuck Schumer. Like, he really is good, first of all, at coaching, but also at like needling and asking difficult questions without humiliating the other person. It's really amazing stuff. Hasan recognizes it too. I remember him mentioning this as in contrast to Mehdi's strengths. Also, yeah, this is not an invite to backseat. And I'm not claiming that this is easy. In the moment, it is very difficult. I mean, like Crystal Ball, when she needled Slotkin and said, so why won't you call it a genocide? That was amazing. Like, I literally, I couldn't believe it. That was pure cinema. But she's even talked about how that was after years of being on mainstream media and just like fucking up interviews and fucking up questions and fucking up conversations. Like, it's a skill you build over time, just like everything else. So I think Hasan is like, he's building that skill, especially, and I think it's like in 2026, he's brought on like 20 candidates or something crazy. I saw like a post on it. And I think he will get better. And I think he has gotten better. There was who was it? There was someone he brought on that like, actually, he did a really good job questioning them. I'm like blanking on the name. I'm not going to be able to remember. It's maybe someone else. Tom Steyer. Yeah, he did a great job with Tom Steyer. He actually did such a good job with him. There were a lot of good hardball questions there. Because it takes a very, it's not just there's a couple of are you saying Slotkin would go on a show if he played hardball? No, I'm making a completely different criticism. I'm saying that like it's a tightrope to walk to both ask hardball questions but still not make the other person so uncomfortable that they feel like they can't go, other people can't go on the show and other people can't talk to people, talk to you. Like you have to be generous and also ask difficult questions. And I think Mehdi really has like perfected this, where he's really good at asking difficult questions, but not in an attempt to actively destroy or rip someone to shreds and humiliate them. Like it always feels like he's kind of like looking out for you. It's like your professor that thinks you're a fucking idiot and is helping you out. Unless he wanted to, in which case he absolutely would. So he's been doing a lot of work lately that I've been respecting and I think has been really cool. But I would love to see him improve that skill because it is, and I'm not saying that I can do it, to be very clear. It's not easy to do. It is a very difficult feat to accomplish. If you put me or anyone else on the spot that agrees with me on this, it is not easy to do. Think about conversations you have just with your friends and family where there are no stakes and no one's watching and you can struggle with like, how do I ask questions that are difficult without making this person so upset or uncomfortable that they like walk off, right? I like the fact that Hasan is vulgar in commentary but invites friendly candidates on the show. I agree. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about there. One second. Thank you for normalizing it. Even things I know turn into word salad when you're on the spot. Oh, for sure. Oh, 100%. But I do think he would benefit from, when it comes to people that he potentially could have on the show, lightening the commentary a little bit. Like someone like Cory Booker, I don't think that guy is ever going to go on a show. He's literally never gone on a single difficult podcast ever. Someone like Slotkin, who kind of did go and accidentally get railed by Crystal Ball, I think there's a chance she would go. I feel like if he was capable of, and he is capable, I feel like if he recognizes the people that he could potentially bring on the show and then be a little bit softer on them on like day-to-day streams, he could give them hardball questions when they come on the stream. And that would be amazing. That would be so dope. I would love to see that. She probably wouldn't now. No, of course not. I think now it's not possible. I think now she's like her perception of his son. Booker did get blindsided on I've Had It podcast. Yeah. I think that there is some appeal to like having the respectability politics, the like wink wink. But I also think like, to be fair, sometimes chat is, especially when you have like a chat that big, when you have 30,000 chirpers, I do think some chatters can be very annoying. Some chatters can be very annoying and they're like, why are you being nice to this candidate? Why are you being generous to this candidate? It's like, maybe he wants to bring them on, bro. Maybe he wants to bring them on, and maybe shitting on them relentlessly is going to make them less likely to want to get on the show. Maybe it's worthwhile, and then when it feels like that there's no way that would happen, then you can shit on them relentlessly. Like, Ted Cruz is never going on the Hasan broadcast. Shit down his throat as much as you want. You wouldn't be the first, and definitely not the last. But I do think that there are people in the middle there that he could absolutely, like, bait and switch. Yeah, I think that there's a lot there that we can do, or there's a lot I think everyone can work on, chatters and streamers alike. Let's finish that. Sorry, classic denim stream. Pausing right before the video ends.
What normal human being would choose to go on a show?
Maybe if he offered MILF watch party, maybe Ted Cruz might indulge.
When someone calls you stupid every 10 days. So I just, it's not going to be something I do.
Okay, maybe I have like copium brain. I don't know. But I feel like if you could get on Hasan's... Oh, I remember why I said all of this. ADHD moment. If you watch Hasan's stream, you watch the way that he speaks to other senators, representatives, and people running for office, you'll find that he's actually, especially if he thinks you are a good candidate, but especially if he thinks you can change as a candidate, he definitely not the scariest person to talk to. If I was a candidate, I would be terrified to speak to Ryan the Grim Reaper. I'd be terrified to speak to Mehdi Hasan. I'd be kind of scared to speak to Crystal Ball. I don't feel like you should be terrified to talk to Hasan. I don't feel like that should be. I feel like you just pull up with some fucking weeb merch and you've already like brought down his defenses like 500%. Like you're at a massive advantage now. God forbid you know some serious One Piece lore. oh, it's over. It's cooked. He's done. It's just over. He's gonna be like, wow, you did the equivalent of bringing me my iced tea. What the fuck? And you come and you start with, wait a minute, with like 5 really good policies. He would be, and he has been very generous, which I think is a good thing in a lot of ways. Um, so you as Slotkin here, if you were if we were Slotkin, Charlie Kirk, and we were carrying the flame, how is this not the best opportunity you would ever have to try and rehab your image? Like, you won't even go on someone whose show wouldn't even be that brutal to you, or like the person who leads the show, the host, wouldn't even be that brutal to you. And all you have to do is come ultra prepared. You could rehab your image so well with someone like Hasan. And maybe this is like, I'm wrongfully categorizing this as like skill issue, but like, if he's calling you stupid and you get on his show and you own the shit out of him and he has no comebacks, okay, well, who's the real stupid one? Now, the problem, however, with someone like Slotkin is that she can never say anything bad about Israel. So she would lose. But it's hilarious for her to say this, where it's like, dude, fuck off. Like, this is so whatever. Also, if you truly believe he's so bad and you're running as someone who will fight Trump, but you can't even go on Hasan's show and stand up to him, you aren't genuine. I will fight Trump. But I will be scared of this streamer who calls me stupid. Bro, I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you, man. I got nothing for you. Politicians outright being like, I'm a coward. It's like, a message that will definitely resonate with voters. Okay. Continuing in the article. Oh, my typing. Ezra Klein fucking. You would think Ezra Klein is a leftist with how much he'd be typing, bro. Ah. I think there's rather a lot wrapped up in this controversy, so let's take it piece by piece. Is Piker a Jew hater, as Third World alleges? In an interview with writer Aaron Regenberg, Piker addressed some of his worst comments. I find some of his answers compelling and others less so. The comparison of liberal Zionists to Nazis, for example, is repugnant. Are you kidding me? Fuck off. And not much improved by Piker clarifying that he opposes ethnostates. What made the Nazis notable wasn't their support for an ethnostate. Ethnostates are common. Huh? Brother? What made the Nazis notable was their effort to exterminate the Jewish people, and Piker's assertion that his opposition is to all reactionary ideology is hard to square with his admiration for Hezbollah. Yes, saying the flag is cool is exactly the same. Okay, all right, dude. Let me just say really quickly. I guess if you just ignore the genocide of the people in Gaza, yeah, then there's no similarity at all. Yeah, if you look at this poster, this flowchart I made, actually this image, and it's just a picture of one stick figure, and I put a little smiley face on him, and I labeled him IDF member. And then if you look at this other stick figure I drew right here, and it's just a little smiling face on the stick figure, and they're holding hands. This one says Palestinian. You see, according to this diagram, do you think that the Nazis did this with the Jews? Do you think that they did that? Yeah, I didn't think so. So if you think about the world that doesn't exist, this is not similar at all. Are you kidding me? Also, this is the part that killed me. The thing that made the Nazis bad was just the Holocaust against Jews, not the trade unionists, leftists, gypsies, gays, disabled. Well, gypsies is a slur. You're not supposed to say that, but the Romani people, yeah. It's like, no, I think actually it was the whole ethno-state problem, because when you want an ethno-state, you inherently are going to remove all the people that don't fit into that ethno-state. And that was not just genociding Jewish people. It was particularly heinous what they did to the Jewish people, and probably the worst part of, or I think everyone would agree, the worst part of the Holocaust and the worst part of Nazi Germany. But that is not to take away from all of the other marginalized groups that were murdered, enslaved, or tortured by the Nazis. Continuing. To focus only on those comments is to miss much else that Piker has said and believes. He has also said from pogroms to the Holocaust, Jews have always been singled out by those in power as a scapegoat for instability and economic volatility that people in power caused. A resilient nation, anti-Semitism is a constant threat. He has called anti-Semitism gross, immoral, and a hate crime. He was promoted by John Ossoff, a Democratic senator from Georgia who is Jewish, a 2028 presidential possibility. In previous presidential primaries, Piker supported Bernie Sanders, who was also Jewish. It's an unusual form of Jew hatred that calls out anti-Semitism and promotes Jewish Americans for for presidency. I have deep disagreements with Piker, but he isn't a Jew hater. He's an anti-Zionist, and here I think the real stakes of this fight come into view. What the hell? This is like, I'm kind of in awe. This is, I think, the most generous read I have seen in any mainstream news network or journal ever of Hasan. Holy. Ezra Klein having awareness is wild. I don't understand. I from the abundance guy, who would have guessed? Holy Toledo. Maybe Ezra Klein hasn't seen the content new. Is that what, do you guys think about that though? Okay, where are we? No, I already read that. A Gallup poll from February found for the first time more Americans sympathize with Palestinians than with Israelis. Among Democrats, the gap was overwhelming, with 65% who sympathize more with Palestinians and 17% with the Israelis. The difference, as I have argued, is largely generational. Older Americans still view the Israelis more sympathetically, but Americans age 18 to 34, 53% sided with Palestinians and 23% with Israelis. This is new. Before 2023, young people and Democrats were more likely to side with the Israelis. This is not the result of an international psyop or the profusion of memes. The Israel that young people know is not the Israel that old people remember. It responded to the savagery of October 7th by flattening Gaza in a brutal campaign that killed at least 70,000 Gazans. The lowball is crazy. It's in the hundreds of thousands. Taking control of more than half of the territory and herding Gazans, more than 2 million people, into the remainder. And they still bombed that area as well. So, like, life there remains hellish. Israel's made hopes for a two-state solution fanciful by slicing the West Bank up into Israeli settlements and abetting constant settler violence and keeping the boot on the throat of Palestinian Authority. Holy shit! Wait, calling out any amount of calling out of Israel accurately? What the? It has used the Iran war as the opportunity to launch an invasion of Lebanon, displacing more than 1 million people, announcing that as many as 600,000 won't be able to return to their homes until Israel decides otherwise. By the way, they were already drawing up plans. The Israeli government was already drawing up plans about how to chop that area up into a bunch of settlements for the people of Israel. The Knesset just voted to legalize hanging as a punishment for Palestinians who are convicted of killing Israelis in terrorist attacks. By the way, the death penalty is only in place for Palestinians. It is not in place for Jewish Israelis. Isn't that great? Isn't that good? That's how you know your society is on the right track. You have the death penalty, but only for one group. But only for one group. And then you have Ben-Gvir cheering about how excited he is to kill the Palestinians and showing off the noose chambers and being like, and this is where we're going to kill the children, and this is where we're going to kill the women, and this is where we're going to kill the men, and here's where we're going to kill the pregnant women. I mean terrorists. Sorry. I'm just really excited, you know? And if you think I'm exaggerating on how giddy he was, I don't recommend watching that video. That video like made me want to physically vomit. I like, bro was literally showing off the death chambers for Palestinians and ear to ear grinning about it. Third way suggests you can identify Jew haters by their use of loaded words taught in social justice seminars: apartheid, genocide, settler colonialism. Huh? If that is the test, then a large number of American Jews now fail it. Israel, as it is behaving today, and as it is constructing itself for tomorrow, is incompatible with any normal understanding of liberal values. There will be no Palestinian state to the west of the Jordan River, Benjamin Netanyahu has said. For years, I have prevented the creation of that terror state against tremendous pressure, both domestic and from abroad. We have done this with determination and with astute statesmanship. Moreover, we have doubled the Jewish settlement in Judea and Samaria, and we will continue on this path. Wow. Does the New York Times know about this? Does the New York Times know about this? Next paragraph is actually fire. Stop pre-watching. You're pre-reading. Anti-Zionism is rising as a response to what Israel is doing. It will simply not be possible to treat it as a marginal viewpoint that can be shamed or shunned into invisibility. Yes, anti-Semitism often cloaks itself in anti-Zionism, so don't do the anti-Semites work for them. If you keep telling people that if they oppose the Jewish state, then they must hate the Jewish people, eventually they will believe you. Oh, it's that one gif. I have to say, probably by far one of the most offensive things I've seen is like the constant desire to frame anyone who criticizes Israel as anti-Semitic. Like incredible. All you've done is reduce and diminish actual anti-Semitism and reduce and diminish people's understanding or opinion or belief when anti-Semitism is actually occurring. Yay! Congratulations, man. Congratulations. Incredible. I mean, I know that it's off topic, completely off topic, to be honest with you, but this is what I was talking about yesterday when we were talking a little bit about Saikuno. For people who missed it, the VOD should be up, I think. But when we're talking about failures by people or failures by states, and we're using specific words to talk about these issues, we have to be, collectively, people have to be more accurate in that wording because it diminishes those words. And this is not in the when right wingers are like, if you call everything a Nazi and fascist, then nothing is, when you're actually accurately describing it and can defend it. As long as you can accurately describe it and defend it, great. I'm sorry, all the people who were like, Trump is not fascistic. He would never be fascistic. Trump would never be fascistic in office. It's like, dude, you're just like an idiot. You're just like actually a fucking idiot, dude. All right, dude. The impulse to cut off those whom we disagree with reaches far beyond Piker or the Israel-Palestinian debate. It sits at the heart of the cancellation as a political tactic. It relies on a belief in the power of gatekeepers that might have been true in an earlier age, but no longer reflect the way attention is earned and held. Tucker Carlson was ejected from Fox News and grew stronger on X and YouTube. Nick Fuentes was banned from major social media platforms and gathered strength in the shadows. Trump went, well, by the shadows, do you mean particular C. Samstony? Trump went from being banned by every major social media platform to retaking the presidency. But it's not that cancellation that has failed to silence those it targeted. It also weakened. Where am I? Sorry. It also weakened those who used the Democratic Party, and the progressive movement was ill-served by the belief that it could decide the boundaries of acceptable debate. In narrowing who it could talk to, it limited what it could hear and whom it could be heard by. I mean, to be clear, I do think that there are limits on who someone should talk to, especially a political candidate. Like, I don't really think any political candidate needs to speak to, like, Nick Fuentes. I don't think that there's anything to learn there or to talk about there. But for someone who's widely accepted as pretty, like, I'm sorry. If you actually break down someone's positions and none of their positions are extreme, what the fuck are you afraid of, dude? Oh, yes, the extreme position of, checks notes, being against an ethno-state. Checks notes, wanting Medicare for all. Checks notes, taxing billionaires. Yeah, those are really extreme and morally reprehensible. So true, like, bro. I've been on Rogan's show. I've been on some of the shows in the broader universe, like Andrew Schultz, Flagrant, and Lex Friedman's podcast. I was surprised by how frustrated the hosts were about their inability to book Democrats in 2024. They had said things that the broader progressive universe disliked, or had conversations with people who were anathema to the left, and so Democrats largely avoided these podcasts, ceding them to the Trump campaign. Oh my God, there's still so much more. I'm like, yappers, bro. Honestly, my broadcast, I feel that. Sorry, I haven't been on Rogan's show. I don't know if I accidentally said I've been on Rogan's show. This was not only bad politics, but also bad democratic practice. These shows had come from nowhere and gained millions of loyal listeners. They had earned their viewership by voicing something that made millions of Americans feel seen, heard, or at least interested in avoiding these spaces. Democrats avoided contact with these kinds of voters they otherwise claim to represent. This is the mistake Democrats often make when they talk about what they did wrong in 2024. They realize now that they should try to talk to the people who listen to these shows. They are less likely to realize that they should listen to the people who talk on these shows. Beneath this is an important principle. Conversation is not a reward to be bestowed on those whom we agree. It is a necessary habit in democracy. The point is not to find agreement so much as to deepen understanding. To talk with others is to believe in the possibility of change. Theirs and your own, whether you like everything that someone has said, should be severed from the question of whether that person is worth talking to. God damn. Oh my God. This is actually a pretty, other than like the parts that were fucking horrible, this is actually a really good piece. The space for conversations was once wider. In 1968, William F. Buckley, arch conservative founder of National Review, hosted Cleaver, the Minister of Information for Black Panthers, on firing line. Neither man was there to endorse others' politics. I should like to begin by asking Mr. Cleaver whether he finds it consistent with his ideology to encourage the assassination of Mr. Richard Nixon. Cleaver's answer was, I would say that Richard Nixon was assassinated, that if Richard Nixon was assassinated, it would only result in having another pig in line who possibly would need to be assassinated. Buckley later hosted Cleaver at his home. It was a different time, but it created a lasting artifact. The interview has hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube and remains riveting to watch. Average liberals like, no, you can't talk to anyone who has any opinions about bad people in office. Are there people who I won't have on my shows or I won't go on? Sure, but those judgments for me are more about what I think would be productive rather than who I think can be included. Similarly, I won't judge Booker or Gallagher or Slotkin for avoiding Piker's show. They're busy people. It might not be how they want to spend their time, but there's something strange about aspiring to lead the country's left-wing coalition and elevating the avoidance of prominent leftists as a matter of principle. Well, the problem is that none of these people want to go on any show that would ever question them. If they genuinely are like, okay, Piker's a little too extreme, go talk to Mehdi. Go talk to Mehdi Hasan. What has he said that's so extreme? Oh, nothing. You're just a cowardly little bitch that doesn't want to have their fucking feet held to the fire. Like, literally, fuck off, dude. That's all the more true now as attention isn't bestowed on the chosen few by television networks and newspaper editors. It's won or lost in a ferocious marketplace that rewards outrage and controversy. The winners of the attention wars today are typically people who said some outrageous things in the past or are still saying them in the present. When you're dealing with podcasters or streamers who talk unstructured and unrehearsed for hours each week, if not every day, there's going to be so much said that it's almost inevitable that a dossier of dumb statements can be compiled. To write those people out of acceptable political discourse is to back yourself into a shrinking, sanitized corner of the public sphere. If someone is streaming for let me compare this to mainstream media. Compare it even to someone like Candace Owens, who's kind of like an old head in like political punditry. She streams, once a week? For like an hour? Maybe even less. Maybe she streams more in the individual moments. But I'm pretty sure last I checked, she only streams like once a week. Most people in like the political punditry sphere don't do live streaming often, if at all. And when they do, they only do like an hour or 2 hours, maybe a week or something. If you're streaming on Twitch and you're doing politics the way that the people on the left are doing politics right now on Twitch, we're streaming like anywhere from 20 to 40 hours a week or more. In Hasan's case, that's like an absurd number. It's even more obscene than that. The fact that there are so few clips in tens of thousands of hours is kind of impressive. It's kind of impressive. Like, I'm trying to think of like even myself, all of the worst clips I have that I've seen, the worst clips I've seen of me. And it's like, it's maybe a couple minutes of, some of them are completely misrepresented and other ones are clip chimped. And the parts that you would be able to criticize, any of them at all, which could have been phrased better, it's like 0.000000001% of my stream. Less. The fact that Hasan has like 5 quotes that people turn to over the 20,000 hours? Okay. Mike said AOC should do fireside streams once a week and she would win by 50. I 100% agree. Totally true. Absolutely correct. Totally correct. Permission to wake and bake, chef? Permission granted. But I want to continue. Let's see. Booker admitted on Pod Save America that when he had said he would never go on Piker's show, he had never heard of Piker. His communication director had read him a list of 4 or 5 of the worst things Piker said, and Booker used that as a basis for his response. Booker got piled on for that admission, but I appreciate the honesty. That is in practice a version of how many of us make our judgments. Algorithmic media is an engine of motivated decontextualization. We see other people in snippets that serve the agendas of those who cut them. We are fed 30-second clips shorn from multi-hour streams, 2-sentence quotes ripped from long conversations, old comments that obscure subsequent change. We have to be careful about being lulled into believing these shards represent anyone's whole person. We should not be afraid of finding out who those people are, of seeking to change them, or of allowing ourselves to be changed by them. You know what, Ezra Klein? Keep at it, bro. You know what, Ezra Klein? Keep at it, and maybe you'll find some love on the left. Not yet. Not after that abundance shit, bro. That shit was awful. But you know what, man? Fucking keep at it, bro. We could give him a silver star sticker for this assignment. He gets one sticker. He gets one sticker on the sticker board. All right. You know what? Maybe Ezra Klein can be changed. Yeah. He can't be trusted until he's at least fired from the New York Times. Low key, kind of true. Low curcuminally, kind of true. He's not on my good side yet, but I now will not jump him if I ever see him. He dodged that one. Yeah. Right wingers see that and be like, you obviously couldn't have been joking. If he says abundance, do we take away the sticker? Yeah. He gets a sticker, but he's far from a good noodle. He probably is only doing this because he can read the room that the attacks aren't working. He's still my enemy. Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I will just say it's so easy for establishment Democrats and liberals to just shit on anyone that is vaguely on the left. It's so easy to shit on Hasan. Like, it's literally, there is an entire industry on YouTube that makes anti-Hasan content. That they pay their bills making anti-Hasan content. It is so easy to do that. And there's no punishment for it. If anything, you just profit off of doing that. So anyone who's willing to be like a little bit honest and say, listen, man, shouldn't we try and have these conversations? You know what? You get at least half a sticker. At least. Okay? And if it's just because he's reading the room and recognizing when a fight is lost, I'll fucking take it. All right? I'll take it.